I got a stack, yeah. Kia ora and welcome to Kiwi Reviews. That is Bala and I am Daniel, and today we're going to be talking about 1917.
And as always, probably going to be a lot of spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it and then come back.
So, 1917. Bala, what did you think?
1917.
1917.
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really immersive. It was super simple storytelling. It looked and sounded really, really cool. And I was engaged throughout the whole thing.
One of the things off the bat that I really enjoyed about it was the simplicity of the narrative, of the idea. Basically, we're with these two soldiers and they've got this mission to accomplish. They've got to go from here to there, and there are lots of things that come about in the way. And it really didn't waste any time getting into that story, which was nice to watch. There was nothing, not a second spared. Probably within 10 minutes, I would have said we were pretty much off on the journey. We knew what the goal was, we knew what the objective was.
And I guess despite how simple it was still like a super engaging story. Like the story itself, the narrative was simple, but just because it didn't have a whole lot of complicated subplots and stuff didn't make it any less engaging. As part of that storytelling, I quite enjoyed how little dialogue there was. Like in a lot of movies with just two characters going on a journey, they have all these conversations and they try to fill every scene with dialogue. But in this film, it was refreshing to see that they didn't have to be speaking the whole time. You don't actually have to know a lot about the characters to be engaged in their situation. Like, we know next to nothing about both of these characters, and yet when they're in danger, we feel that.
Another point in this film which we really have to talk about is the cinematography.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Which was obviously a crazy endeavour, and I think it paid off.
Yeah. So they did this thing where they shot the whole movie to look like it's one take. It's actually stitched like many different long takes together, but they all look like they're just one take.
And I'm always interested to see how those one-take films come about, especially when you know a little bit about what it takes to make something. Logistically, it's an interesting challenge to see done well.
And sometimes that can feel like a gimmick, but I thought it really worked here. It was really immersive. The audience never really gets let off the hook. And I think it really helps in terms of the pacing as well, and draws out the tension in those moments, like when there's really tense, suspenseful moments, because we're not cutting away, it adds to that. It was also really cool how many different compositions and frames they managed to get. So at the beginning, when the characters are being called into that bunker to get given their orders, you see all these different compositions. You see like a wide shot, and then a close-up, and then a two-shot, and like all of this is happening just by moving the characters around in the set.
In the beginning, I was quite impressed with the shots that were taking place, how they managed to move the cameras, what they managed to show. But as the film progressed, as I got into the film, the one take stopped becoming something that I was noticing as a one take, and it just started becoming part of the film language. It started becoming part of what was making me feel what I was feeling while I was watching the show. I was sort of like limited. My field of view was very limited. I was only seeing what almost the character was seeing at that time. I didn't know what was happening over there. When we're cutting all the different ways, sometimes it's easy to feel like you have a good sense of the whole setting. You know, nothing can really sneak up on us. But in a setting that the character was in, which Schofield was in, where he was in these dangerous scenarios, and it was a very stressful time to realize that you don't really know what's around you, even as the viewer.
I thought the music was really cool in this. It had like a real live feeling. Because it was a one-take film, it felt like almost like watching a silent movie back in the day where they'd have like an orchestra playing music to accompany it. That was really cool. In the moments where it was like really suspenseful and tense, there was all this like cool rhythmic stuff going, which is like, I feel like now it's classic just because all of the stuff that Hans Zimmer has done with like the Batman movies and Inception and stuff. And then at the big set pieces, there was all this like epic orchestral stuff that was really cool. What I did like is that there was actually no music when Blake dies. And we actually don't even see it. When we don't see Blake die and we turn around and he's already been stabbed and he dies in Schofield's arms, there's no music. And because it's a one-take film, we don't cut away. So I thought that moment was actually pretty effective.
What was really nice about the music in this as well is that it didn't set the tone as much as it supported what we were already seeing. And sometimes music and film can seemingly like tell us how to feel. And I think this was an example where it didn't have to do that, and it didn't do it. You know, if the music wasn't there, what you're seeing is enough to have these feelings. And the music comes in and just really emboldens what we're seeing. Emboldens, yeah. What I really enjoyed about the ending was this conversation that's had with Benedict Cumberbatch's character. He reads the letter and he does call off the attack, but he starts to talk about what I think is a really nice note about the complicated side of war, which is that it's never as simple as, you know, attack, don't attack. He starts to go into this sort of bit about like, you know, he was hoping today was going to be a good day, and that today it's don't attack, but next week it's attack, and the day after that it's attack, and then it's don't attack. And so, although yes, we did stop an attack, which probably needed to be stopped, it doesn't say anything about that, the fact that that attack isn't going to happen in a week or in a few days' time, and maybe the same amount of people might die. And it kind of just leaves it on this kind of, like you said, a bittersweet note where we feel like we have won, but we're also reminded that the war is not over.
So 1917. What did you guys think? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And what is your favorite war film and why?
Thank you for watching. I'm Daniel, that's Bala, and please let us know if there's anything about this film as well as Bala's question. If there's anything that you feel like we missed talking about or that you want to say, then please feel free to drop that in the comment section.
See you next time.